Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yes, if you're here, you are watching me do the Instagram post I do before every video. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think I got my internet fixed. Thank goodness. I don't know what I did, and I don't know if it'll last, but for as long as I'm able to, I will stream. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to part 4.5 of Suzerain Kingdom of Rizia stream. Sorry I wasn't able to stream when I intended to, which was yesterday. I had some things going on, but hey, I'm very happy to be back, and I'm happy to do a stream this week. Hopefully I'll also be back again next Saturday. Shit, I'm just excited. I think I actually got my internet fixed. It's actually been stable for the last few minutes. This is exciting. Okay. So, last time, I'm so sorry for the crash last time. My internet basically just bricked halfway through after giving me issues the entire time. You knew if you got to watch the VOD or were there for the stream, it was terrible. So sorry about that, but I think I've got it working again. I don't know what I did, but I'm not going to question it. We got cut halfway through. Yes, we were in the meeting. We were visiting the meeting, the House of Delegates to discuss workers' reform with Mano Sezon, and Rusty happened to waltz his way in halfway through, and I had an epiphany. Shower thoughts. Genuinely, I was taking a shower and I thought about this, and I thought, what if? Hear me out. What if we change the laws about the press? What if we establish, where is it? Where is it? I think it would be under welfare? No, trade. Yes, allow the free press. I think, hear me out here. I think if we allow for a free press and then we sign into effect the Workers' Rights Act that Mano Sezon is proposing, we continue to take advantage of the popularity we've been gaining so far, and then finally we'll be able to use all that extra popularity with the free media to then put extra pressure on Lesbia during the negotiations about the oil fields. My logic here is that despite giving us less control overall, we've made some very popular decisions overall. So if we're able to leverage, continuing to push those ideas, one, we'll get the added popularity of the free press. Two, it'll make Lesbia and Arcadia look upon us more favorably because, more capitalist nations, democratic, free press, supposedly. And three, we can rally the population, and potentially, because we didn't ban Millennium propaganda, we can use this as an opportunity to invite more Vaxlandian influence into the country and give them a reason, a direct reason, to support us in the negotiations. That's my logic here. Now, all we need to do is give ourselves extra authority. Now, how I do that is up for debate. I don't know how much I've... Okay, 2 authority, 1 budget, that doesn't help me. 2 energy, 1 budget, that's not bad, but... 2 budget, support vehicles, 2 budget, that is not helpful. Oh, come on, there's gotta be something. There's gotta be something I can do. 10 protection, that's minus 2 authority. Come on. Tax credits? No, 2 authority. Raise base income, 2 authority. 2 authority. 1 authority, 2 authority. Shoot, I might not be able to. I might not have enough. Crap, how do I get extra authority? Because this could be a really big deal if I can get it through. Actually, some of these might be locked behind money, so if I can just find one that gives me a little bit more authority, just like 1 more authority. Riveting gameplay, I know. Clicking through a drop-down menu to look for the thing I need. Okay, wait, let's see what would realistically give me more authority. 10 protection, no. Would selling... No, that would cost authority. What else? Yeah, that would lose me authority. That's no good. Plus 2 budget. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, this might not be in the cards for us right now. But it's still something I want to go for in the future, because I think it could be actually very good. Even if we get the delayed... Even if the value we get from it is delayed, because we have to do it later, because, again, we lack authority right now. I still think that... Oh, wait. Would... Because this could be really strong. Also, we need to increase health and education funding. I don't know what gives me authority here. I really don't. We're definitely privatizing welfare. Yeah, I don't think there's any here that... Yeah, I don't think there's anything here. Okay, what about the other one? The increased health and education funding. Here we go. We do have enough authority for that. We don't have enough budget for that. What's our budget look like? +3 per turn. This will take it to -2 per turn. That might be okay. And do we have the money for it? If we were to do like a small third energy sale or maybe a military equipment sale. Yeah, we could sell some support vehicles or some military equipment to do it. But beyond that, I don't think we can do much. +1 budget per turn would be nice. Okay, I think we'll leave it for now. Hopefully this meeting actually gives us authority. That'd be cool. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. But I still think I want to back Manasazan on this one. But let's go through this again. Visiting the House of Delegates. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, just making sure everything's up to speed. I actually think the connection's solid this time. Don't know what I did. Super happy, though. Okay, let's do this. I walked down the palm tree-lined path that connected Pala Rejna to the nearby House of Delegates. In contrast to the ornate palace, the house was essentially a plain concrete box. Its stripped-down appearance reflected its hurried construction. The only adornment was a phrase chiseled above the entrance, Ax Popula Trizati, to the region people. Sorry, my thing buffered again. I think we're okay, though. Sorry, I'm just going to do an audio test. Testing. Yep, we're good. Okay. Sorry about that. Back to the video. To the region people. I made my way down to the hall to the meeting room. Hugo rose to greet me as I entered the empty chambers. We took our seats atop the raised wooden platform in the center of the room. Excuse me. Directly below the platform were 2 podiums, one for each speaker. Wooden benches for the delegates were arranged in a circle around us. Welcome, Your Majesty. Good morning, Your Grace. The delegates will be on their best behavior today with you here today. The Sazan boy might even keep his speeches to under half an hour. Do I want to say that? I don't want to antagonize him, but I also want to explicitly signal support to Hugo, for him to Hugo. You're not jealous of the attention he gets, are you? Ha, far from it. Although I am worried about the attention he's been getting from one Vina Torres. Rebuilding relations with House Sazan is a sound strategy, but we mustn't allow them to get too close to the throne. Sorry, my nose is a bit runny. The clock struck 10 and the delegates filed in. Each wore a satin sash in the traditional cover of his or her province, red for Rija and Perry, blue for Monkeys, yellow for Cardes Monteclar, and green for Brenas. Next came the speakers. House leader Daria Durava walked out in a well-tailored crimson suit. She had a brisk gait and an impeccable posture. The other delegates practically held their breath as they waited for her to take her place. Which house does she belong to again? The Duravas aren't related to any of the royal houses. Sorry, my thing keeps buffering. Aren't related to any of the royal houses. They were granted their nobility status through service to our family after the War of Succession. Technically, she's a baroness, but she prefers the title of Madam Speaker. I know the approving tone in his voice as he spoke of her. Next came Manasazan, clad in a black suit with a forest green silk tie. He waved to his fellow delegates, then to me. I returned his wave. He smiled as he took his place. Daria picked up a golden bell and rang it once. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to call this meeting to the House of Delegates to order. Today we are humbled by the presence of His Majesty King Romus, long may he reign. A few cries of long may he reign echoed among the delegates, particularly those in red and blue sashes. Pro tips, only pass new regulation for mining company, -1 budget. In future, you can buy 15% more on RRG. Interesting. I'll keep that in mind, thank you. It is an honor to be here, Madam Speaker. She smiled and continued. The Regent People's Party have prepared a proposal that Mr. Suzerain will submit before the House of Delegates and His Majesty. The delegates will vote on whether to accept or reject it, but this is a non-binding recommendation. The ultimate authority rests with the King and the Royal Council. She flipped open a binder. Today's session is regarding the Regent Workers' Protection Act. Mr. Suzerain, would you like to explain more? Gladly, Madam Speaker. The past 2 decades have seen a marked increase in workplace accidents, particularly in the sectors of mining and manufacturing. Also get acceptable working conditions. Yeah, see, here's the thing. I'm planning to back Manasazan on this one, because I think it's morally correct, but 2, because I want to eventually, I don't know what you think of this, but I eventually want to get enough authority to open free press and use the popularity I've gotten from signing acts like these and the various other welfare initiatives I've done to basically get... Basically, I'm hoping for Vaxlandian intervention in the dispute over the island, and hopefully using the free press I might be able to get that, but we'll see. It's a work in progress. The past few particularly in the sectors of mining and manufacturing, the experts I've consulted with have pinpointed several factors responsible for the rise, chief among them a shortage of skilled labor and growing pressure from our primary trading partner. Simply put, our corporations have been cutting corners at the expense of human health and safety. His Majesty's decree to grant full working permissions to guest workers has helped with the labor shortage, but these employees have been promoted in a rush, making conditions yet more hazardous. Now, a cross-industry coalition of employees have bravely approached the Regent People's Party with a list of requests to convey to our fellow delegates as well as His Majesty. Among these are mandatory workplace safety training, upgraded protective equipment, benefits for those injured on the job, and regular site inspections by state authorities. And of course, financial penalties for corporations that fail to meet these requirements. Madam Speaker, Your Majesty, surely you agree on the urgency of this proposition. Rija's great industries will not flourish as long as our workers are suffering. I looked at Hugo. It's hard to believe we had none of these measures in place before now, and yet our industries flourish nonetheless. I suddenly realized the hall had gone quiet. Shall I continue? I said this last time, Mr. Suzerain, I'd like to know how Reach is to pay for these policies, but I think I'd rather go with please go on. I didn't mean to interrupt. Please go on. I didn't mean to interrupt. Manus cleared his throat. As I was saying, my party and I believe that healthier workers will lead to a more prosperous society. What we invest in these measures now will pay off tenfold in the long run. Daria sharply knocked on her podium. All eyes turned to her. Oh, Minecraft guy, if you're still here, how's the stream looking? I've been having internet problems. I wanted to know if it's consistent. If you could let me know, that'd be appreciated. Forgive me, Your Majesty, but I cannot let my opponent continue with these lies. Manus reluctantly took a step back. Of course my party believes that worker safety is paramount, but the regulations that have been suggested today amount to overkill. It is up to individual organizations to take responsibility for reducing accidents. Shifting that responsibility to the government will do nothing to protect those at risk. It will, however, stifle our country's economic growth and decrease our viability in the global arena. If our businesses are to remain competitive, it is wiser to incentivize good safety practices than to punish their absence. I must object, Madam Speaker. Companies such as Regent Royal Gold and Regent Oil and Gas will never voluntarily undertake the measures we are describing. Daria brushed off the comment. My point stands. With tensions rising in both our north and south, we simply cannot afford an extravagance of the type Mr. Sazon is proposing. Our focus should be on achieving better diplomatic outcomes with our neighbors, not meddling in the affairs of our corporations. From near the front door came the sound of a single person applauding. I looked towards the source. Rusty was leaning against the wall, dressed in his usual plaid. He nodded at me as he kept clapping. I turned towards Hugo again. You didn't tell me the special guest would be joining us today. Hugo stared in Rusty's direction, expressionless. I was not informed. Unfortunately, these sessions are open to the public, so we cannot ask him to leave without reason. In fact, his presence could be useful in pressuring the Suzerain boy to stand down with his demands. Rusty had stopped clapping now. He was scrutinizing me closely, a gleam in his eye. How nice of you to join us, Mr. Montaro. Do you have any words on the topic at hand? Name's Rusty. As a matter of fact, I do. Rusty ambled down the aisle of the chamber. He came to a stop between the two speaker podiums. Now, I won't take up too much of your time. The Baroness summed things up pretty well. His Majesty here also had the privilege of hearing my personal thoughts on this subject. I couldn't change his mind then, but here, in this respectable chamber full of level-headed individuals. He cleared his throat. Now, the region's standard dictionary defines gold as a yellow precious metal, used in jewelry and to guarantee the value of currencies. Just let him bloviate. But in Rizia, it's so much more than that. Commoners who've never even touched ducat still feel proud to live on shores of gold as we sing. But our shoals would never have been golden in the first place if our monarchs had listened to naysayers like Mr. Sazon here. Your Majesty, your predecessors knew that there can be no prosperity without hard work. Our grit and determination today fills the nation's coffers tomorrow. But where does that grit go when the government's got our hands tied? How can we function as a company when you folks don't trust us to take care of our own people? If I may ask, sir, how exactly would our proposal tie your hands? What does the country stand to lose? Don't play dumb, kid. Implementing all your suggestions would cost us, and you, millions. You'd have no choice but to shift more of your production from Rizia to the international trade zone. So changing our standards within the country will lead to more workers being exploited outside of it. However bad you think the conditions are here, Your Majesty, they're worse over there. How is that a justification? The people who produce Rizia's wealth should be treated with dignity, whether inside or outside of the kingdom. And Mr. Montaro could easily afford the measures I'm suggesting if he and his fellow executives forewent a fraction of their salary. Rusty started laughing. Excuse me? You're sitting on a fortune just because you happen to have the right last name, and you want me to give it the money I worked for? This isn't about the nobility. It's about you and your gold-tiled swimming pool. Yes, the subject of noble wealth is completely out of the purview of today's session. Mr. Montaro, would you and Rizia's other business owners be willing to undergo voluntary measures to increase workplace safety in lieu of the drastic actions Mr. Sazon is proposing? Rusty grinned toothily. Course we would, as long as we're allowed to keep doing what we do best. He stroked his chin He stroked his chin thoughtfully. Come to think of it, though, I won't presume to speak up for the other guys. I'm the only one who cared enough to show up today, right? So here's another thought. You regulate factories and energy plants however you want, but maybe, just maybe, you think about making an exception for old Rusty. I think I know where your suggestion is going, Minecraft guy. Manus drew a hand across his brow. We can't make any exceptions. The malfeasance of Region Royal Gold was what inspired this proposal in the first place. This is evil. Giving some of the workers what they want might divide them enough to head off organized dissent, though, right? Like, yeah, that's true, but that's evil. In its entirety, Mr. Sazon, no. Yes, I've witnessed Mr. Montaro's cavalier attitude towards employee safety. If any company needs to be regulated, it's RG. The same wait. The same arguments Rusty has made apply to everyone else. It doesn't make sense to regulate some industries and not others. Yes, I've witnessed Mr. Montaro's cavalier attitude towards employee safety. If any company needs to be regulated, it's Region Royal Gold. Cavalier? Heck, Your Majesty, you're the one who'd be putting men out of work with one stroke of a pen. Please do not forget whose presence you're speaking, Mr. Montero. Hugo calmly spoke up. The time for a vote is drawing close. To be clear, Mr. Sazon, you do not wish to amend your proposal to take into account Mr. Montero's comments? I do not, Your Grace. Then you have the floor, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Your Grace. As a reminder to you and His Majesty, this vote serves as a non-binding recommendation. The King and his council may agree or disagree at will. All those in favor of the Regent People Party's workers' safety proposal, raise your hands. About a quarter of the delegates, mostly those with green sashes, put a hand in the air. Those in favor of encouraging companies to develop and enforce their own safety protocols on a voluntary basis? The rest of the delegates, an overwhelming majority, raised their hands. Rusty smiled triumphantly. Develop and enforce their own safety. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. The delegates have an official recommendation. Rather than introduce sweeping and expensive labor reforms, Risha should entrust the matter of safety to its business owners. Hugo nodded. Thank you, Madam Speaker. The final decision is now in the hands of His Majesty King Ramus. Will you accept or overrule the delegates' recommendation? Rusty, did you have any closing arguments? I surely do not, Your Majesty. It seems to me like the decision you have to make is no decision at all. You could even walk out of this room right now and let your legislative system do the rest. But you're a man of action. I know you want the final say, so by all means, go on and say it. Have you said all that you wanted to say, Mr. Sazon? I've stated my case, Your Majesty, but I will say this. I'm glad you joined us in this room today. Perhaps now you have a better sense of the system your father put into place. The majority of delegates in this room support royal interests, not those of the subjects they claim to represent. As long as that is true, it is the king's responsibility to see past the lies and make the decision that best serves ordinary citizens. Thank you for listening. I'd like to confer my Grand Vizier. Of course. We turned away from the delegates and spoke in low voices. Would I lose face with the delegates if I rejected the recommendation? To be honest, I'm not sure what would happen. Valero never rejected a recommendation in all his years as king. They will be strongly expecting you to agree with their decision, which I would advise you do anyway. Here's what I've decided. Here's what I've decided. Everyone in the room went silent as they awaited my next words. So, two options. 1. I side with the delegate majority. The workplace safety proposal from the Regent People's Party shall not be undertaken. Or 2. After listening to compelling arguments from both Mr. Sazon and Mr. Montero, I hereby order the implementation of the Regent People's Party's proposal, with the addendum that the mining industry will be exempt from the regulations. Oh, wait, no, I don't want that. Wait, do I not have enough Oh, I don't have enough budget. Shit. Oh. Motherfucker. I can't sell anything in this moment. Fuck. All right, my hands are bound here. I don't have enough budget. Fuck. Okay. Every bone in my body is itching to reset it, sell the military equipment, and come back with more budget. But no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not doing that. I hope I can leverage this against Asian Royal Gold in the future. And that I can increase worker protections later down the line. But I think the best thing I can go for right now is spending the one budget and giving RRG the exemption while implementing for everyone else. Plus, there might be the added benefit of turning the oligarchs against each other. That's not a bad thing. But yeah, no, obviously, I really, really wish I had the budget to just go with the full proposal, but I have to make the compromise here because I just don't have the fucking money, apparently. Okay, fine. After listening to compelling arguments for both Mr. Sazon and Mr. Montero, I hereby order the implementation of the Regent People's Party's proposal, with the addendum that the mining industry will be exempt from the new regulations. All hail to the king! My uncle gave Rusty a withering look. Silence, Mr. Montero. Do not make His Majesty regret his decision. Madam Speaker, let the record show that the king has overridden the House majority. Noted, Your Grace. Daria made a note in her binder. She then looked up at Hugo and myself. If she was bothered by my decision, her face didn't show it. Once again, I thank His Majesty for blessing us with his presence here today. And Duke Taurus for presiding over the session. An honor as usual, Madam Speaker. My fellow delegates and esteemed guests, this meeting is now adjourned. Any follow-up questions will be addressed in future sittings. She rang the bell again, and the room began to empty out. As my guards escorted me towards the exit, I noticed Rusty still standing in the hall with his arms folded. Is there something you'd like to say to me? I just wanted to express my gratitude, Your Majesty. He reached out to shake my hand. I suddenly felt the cool metal against my palm. I withdrew my hand and took a closer look at the object he'd given me. My guys dug this up in the MITZ a while back. Consider it a token of my appreciation. What is it? Heck if I know. Looks pretty old though, doesn't it? As for that other matter we discussed back at my place, are you sure you're not interested? Well, since I've already sided with him, it might as well get a bigger share of the company. I've given some thought to it. But I mean, again, I would have rather just, flatly given the full Regent People's Party proposal and just, screwed him. But if I can't, because I didn't have the budget for it, then I might as well take advantage of the situation and take him up on the offer. I've given some thought to it, and yes, I would like to alter Risha's share. Your wish is my command. I'll have my lawyers get in touch with the paperwork. Raising the stake won't be free, naturally, but I'll give you a royal discount. See you real soon. He bowed and strode out the door. Oh, this is cool. Turn over. Turn over. Okay, there we go. No. It's cool, though. I'm not entirely sure what it is. Discovered during preliminary explorations of the Morgna International Zone, this solid gold Rugist medallion is believed to be one of the oldest relics in the ancient Reginid Empire. The remarkably preserved, intricate religious engraving still carried the same symbolism as hundreds of years ago. Yeah, we're gonna buy an increased stake. That's just kind of it's just the best option here. What do we do? This is not good. Okay. Yeah, okay. I suddenly don't think my free media thing is gonna work anymore. I don't have energy right now. I'm gonna hold off on that. But I'm gonna sell military equipment. Yeah. Sign over, sell some military equipment. And that's interesting. And I'm not buying anything. Second batch of equipment? No, that costs authority. I'm not going to do that. Sell first batch of support vehicles. We're going to be we're building the plant currently, so we'll hopefully be okay in the future. And again, we're not building up a big army, so that's all right. We're going to have this plant up soon, hopefully. Passes safety laws. That's something, I guess. Oops. It's something, I guess. Yeah, okay. We're gonna at least buy more. Decide whether to buy an increased stake in Region Royal Gold or sell part of the government's existing stake. In exchange for rejecting the Region People's Party's proposal for gold mining regulations, Rusty Montoro of Region Royal Gold has given us the opportunity to raise or lower the royal stake in his company. I guess we're raising the stake. Yeah, +1 budget per turn. That's going to be really helpful. Yeah. What about the, hang on. Under welfare, there's the... Where is it? It should be under welfare. Increase health and education funding. Why don't I do authority? 3 budget. There it is. I'll wait till the end. I think I want to pass this by the end of this session, but I do think I have to wait. Yeah, this is not a happy spot to be in. Kingdom increases share in Region Royal Gold. All right. Wait, is there any way to increase workers' rights through decree here? Inheritance tax would be nice. Landowner's tax would also be nice. Public transit, energy subsidies, one-time stimulus checks. That's interesting. Public sea transportation. Yeah, I don't think there's anything directly. Yeah, I can't do much. Residence and work permits for migrants could be good in the future, but this is unfortunate. Morel sends congratulations for taking control of natural resources. When asked during a press conference, Morel's Prime Minister, Alma Sultana, said she welcomes Rija's decision to take control over a larger part of its Royal Gold Corporation. She reiterated her government's position that countries should be in control of their own natural riches, which should, in her view, never be owned by either capital nor foreign power. I agree. I'm glad she approves. That's actually really good for us. Gives us gives us more backing from Morella, which is good for improving things in the future. I'm silver lining to a decision I didn't really want to make. I'll take it though. It was the night before my trip to Kairut for the Alliance of Nations meeting. Oh shit, oh god, okay. I just finished some last-minute preparations in my study. I carefully made my way back towards the palace residential wing. It was later than I realized. The halls were dead silent, illuminated only by weak shafts of moonlight through the windows. Grand Wiseman Ignatius's quarters were on the ground floor. I saw light coming out of the keyhole. Peer in. I usually wouldn't, but I carefully bent down and looked inside. Sal was walking back and forth in his armchair, his eyes closed. He seemed to be mouthing a prayer. Just before the stairs was the entrance to Vina's room. Through the door, I caught the faint strains of her voice. I don't like to be snooping, but like, press my ear against the door in order to hear better. Oh, don't be so blue. You got more than you expected, didn't you? Now I won't talk to him. No, I won't talk to him. He's in Kairut for the next 2 days anyway. Yes, my love. We'll speak very soon. There was a clunk as she hung up the phone. I moved away from the door and kept walking. I might know who that be. I might know who that is. I reached the top floor. Across the hall from my bedchamber was the Queen Mother's door was open. Oh, don't be so blue. You got more than you expected. Right, she is talking to Manus. Okay. Okay. That's cute. I hope. Look, I really want to back him more in the future. Genuinely, like I hope he puts through more proposals that I can sign. Actually, wait, can I take a quick? I can. Okay, in the future, I'll sign more of the Regent People's Party's proposals. That's my hope. Again, I think the free press could still be a good asset, which sounds interesting given the circumstances. But yeah, I looked in. My mother was smoking out on her balcony, her back turned towards me. Good evening, Mother. She looked startled for a moment, then smiled. I'm surprised you're still up. You have a long day ahead of you. All set for tomorrow? Did Father tell you anything about these AN sessions? Oh, you know he was no diplomat. In fact, I'm not sure he even attended after the Gilles agreement. Poor Mr. Esquivel was alone in his stead. You're planning on addressing the elephant in the chamber, are you? Yes, the arbitration committee should come to a decision. Should have come to a decision already. Our claim in the gas field is clear. I was referring to Gilles, my dear. Or have you forgotten the handover deadline is imminent? We need our land back, no matter what kind of announcement Victor Smolak has up his sleeve. How did you know he's going to make an announcement? My whisper networks aren't what they used to be, but wives still talk. Any advice on how to act, then? I say don't stoop to his level. Make him look like the tyrant he is. Good advice. Speaking of which, how is that muscle-bound lunk of yours proceeding with his investigation? These things take a while, you know? I do hope the investigators turn up something we can use. I shudder to think of what might happen if the handover deadline arrives before the culprit is found. If this doesn't work, we'll try something else, but Gilles will be ours. Yes, I know. Excuse my impatience. She stubbed her cigarette on the balcony railing and sighed. Well, it's about time I get some rest. Wait, do I want to ask her about No. Yes, me too. I hope Abel ironed your pillowcase. You can't go addressing the AN with creases on your face. Thanks for all the advice. What's a mother for? I wished her good night and left the room. I heard her light click off. I returned to my quarters to see Titus take his post outside my door. I wondered how long he'd been shadowing me for. In my room, Pavel had already packed my suitcase and turned the bed down. I checked the corner for Bruno, but his dog bed was empty. I looked at my own bed and saw that he'd made himself comfortable there. Alright, you can sleep here tonight, but don't get too used to it. Bruno curled up at my feet as I got in bed. I tried to sleep, but was too distracted by thoughts of the day ahead. Okay, here we go. Situations. RG, state owns 45%. Very good. I'm happy about that. Acceptable workers' rights. Strike a balance between industry needs and worker welfare, respect reasonable work hours, proper safety measures, fair representation are widespread, leading to a generally contented workforce. Not bad. Again, it could be much worse. If I had the budget, I would have just taken the whole thing. But Hegel tightens Gamlen trade. Interesting. In a deft strategic pivot is recalibrating its nation's economic ties with the CSP. By tapering off trade with Gamland, Hegel is prompting to strengthen ties with other pact members, reflecting a concerted effort to consolidate its economic futures within the sphere. Very interesting. Okay. Yeah, again, I don't have the authority to do a lot of these, which is really the only problem. But again, I do want to explicitly back the Reaching People's Party in this one. Like, generally, I mean. What other proposals do they have? Allow the free press? Yeah, of course. Excuse me. Government stimulus checks? Not a bad idea, but not the first thing I'd go for. Enact inheritance tax. That's a lot of authority, but could be pretty strong. And that's it. Okay. Fair enough. Wait, what's highlighted? Ah, no, it's not a big deal. Ooh, request for cooperation with Velen. Option to share information with Velen intelligence. Velen's intelligence forces have been asking for full cooperation in their investigation of the Gilles bombing. This means that region security will be obliged to share any information they have found, and vice versa. Yeah, cooperate. Like, if we look like we're amicable and we're trying to support them in finding the actual perpetrators, they have much less of a claim to say that, oh, they're screwing us over to try and get us to hand over Gilles. Like, we just look diplomatic. We look really good. I think as far as the international community goes, we look really good right now. So I want to keep that image. So I'm going to cooperate with them. And besides, if Victor Smolik wants to say, oh, you're not cooperating with us, well, yeah, we are. He can't pull that card anymore if we're actually cooperating with him. So I think this is pretty strong. We'll cooperate. Velen thanks us for cooperation. Vejek authorities have extended their gratitude to the region counterparts for agreeing to cooperate on the Gilles bombing investigation, calling it an important sign of goodwill from the region side. Very good. That's very, very good. Okay, wine exports soared amid trade surge. Very nice. Golcondas pilgrims squat Plavos sanctuary. Okay. Okay, interesting. Alliance of Nations, South Mercopa session. Okay, let's do this one first. Wine exports soar amid trade surge. Ooh. Oh, cool. +2 budget. Nice. Regis vineyards are flourishing with heavy demand from a remarkable surge in wine exports, particularly to Swordland and other Eastern Mercopan nations. This unexpected boon has created a significant surplus in trade, positively impacting our national budget. A strategic decision now is how best to allocate its additional resource. Regis viticulture will travel around the world. Geralt of Ribery. Who the heck is that even? I don't know what this means. Wait, hang on. I'm good. Just checking. Geralt. I don't know. Ribery? Okay, okay, I know, I recognize the name Geralt of Ribery, but I can't remember it. But, hey, you know what? Regis viticulture will travel around the world. +2 budget. Monkeys grapples with rising tourism and trade demands. The governor of Monkeys faces new challenges as it becomes the epicenter of Regis surging trade exports and tourist arrivals. Very nice. The influx of visitors, especially from Swordland, and the burgeoning wine trade have brought in economic growth, but also concerns over cultural and environmental impacts. The situation is particularly strained in the entertainment district, where the blend of local tradition and foreign influence is most palpable. As Monkeys navigates these waters, balancing its historical role as a trade hub with its modern identity is proving to be a complex task. That is fair. That's a very complex task. Source tourists disrupt ancient Tope site. Oh, come on, guys. A group of tourists from Swordland causes disturbance at the ancient Regnid excavation site in Topes. The tourists, reportedly ignoring guidelines, ventured into restricted areas, damaging some recently unearthed artifacts. What dicks. Local authorities have detained the individuals involved, and the incident has prompted calls for stricter enforcement of heritage site regulations. The city council is considering implementing mandatory guided tours for foreigners to protect the site's integrity and educational value. That's a good idea. I'm very much in favor of that. I think that's a very good idea. What else is over here? Did we get some new ones? Sell second batch of vehicles. We can't do that right now. We don't have enough. And, oh, that's literally it. Okay, never mind then. Source tourists, a blessing or a burden? They can be a blessing, but, like, don't Don't be jerks. Rizia's wine exports reach new heights. Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. Is there any way we can expand certain things? Taurus Hospital, Geointelligence Hubs, Pale's Border, Palais Border. This could be good. Ooh, +2 tourism. Ooh, wait, that could be really good. That could be really good. 2 authority, 2 budget, 2 turn construction. We don't need to worry about the industry parks anymore. We've got the dam going, we've got the trade going, we've got everything going. We don't need to worry about it. We're not buying military stuff. We don't need that. Tenant protection laws, that's good. We'll do that later, I hope. Increase health and education funding. This is also a big deal. And now that we have the money for it, it's more in view. How much longer for this? Oh, it doesn't say? That's unfortunate. I kind of like the idea of going for where is it? Where is it? The excavation of the ancient city. That could be really good. It'll boost our tourism, which is really significant, and that'll go in line very well with the building of the port, which will also just bring in more people. I think that's really good. But also I do want to keep enough for free press. Okay, let's see this. Golconda's pilgrims squat Plavo Sanctuary. Address the squatting issue at Plavo Sanctuary. Oh. A group of Durgian Golconda's pilgrims suspected to... Durgian, where is... I want to check where that is. Durgian, here. Okay. Okay. What's our relationship with them? Are we just neutral? Yeah, we're neutral. Okay. Okay. A group of Durgian Golconda's pilgrims have suspected to have entered the country via the Morellan border, have taken up residence unlawfully in the revered Plavo sanctuary. The monarchy now faces the choice: extradite these pilgrims to Durgia or Morella, or provide them with accommodation, ensuring their safety and upholding Golconda's religious sentiment. See, the money I'm okay with, but the loss in authority kinda sucks. I'm worried about how much authority I have, because it's not good, and I don't want to deport them because, like, I don't want to. Morella has already gotten a more favorable opinion of us due to the regional gold buy. I don't know how Durgia feels about us necessarily, but that would probably cause an incident with them if I just send them back. I think I have to bite the bullet here and just allow them to stay and pay with authority. Which, again, I don't want to pay with authority. If it was 2 budget, I would actually feel a lot better about this. But given the international situation, I think it's best to improve our ties with Durgia and Morella. I think they're going to be better allies overall. Yeah, okay. Allow them to stay and pay for their accommodation. Hopefully this looks good. Sanctuary wing converted into sleeping quarters. To accommodate the Golconda's pilgrims occupying the Plavo Sanctuary, authorities have converted a less used wing of the complex into a temporary living space for the pilgrims. While some of the local religious community issued mild complaints, overall it would seem all religious communities prefer a peaceful solution over a violent eviction. Good. I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, this is just... all of this is really just... yeah, this is all just I don't have enough authority issue. At least most of it. I don't know how to get authority. That's just it. I don't know how to get more authority. And I can't do the other one anymore. The, where is it? Increase health and education funding, because I don't have the authority anymore. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we can get here. Hopefully this will increase our authority. If we win, I think it will. Which will be very significant. Alliance of Nations, South Maricopa Session. Assembly Hall in the AN Cairo. Also, I guess I didn't get to do my idea of allowing for the free pass, but that's the game. God, I love this game. It was a rainy day in Cairo. One of only a handful the island experienced per year. The sound of falling drops on the Alliance of Nations dome made for an unexpectedly soothing backdrop to what I could tell was going to be a tense session. This is going to be very difficult. I sat with Lorento and the rest of the region delegation in the half-full assembly hall. Today's session was to focus on South Maricopa only. Looking around the room, I could see representatives and leaders from Velen, Morella, Durja, and Lesbia. No Vagsland? Interesting. Okay. Duke Axel Reinhardt, Patricia Alvarez entered late, deep in conversation. They nodded at each other and took seats in their respective delegations. Did I make a mistake? Are we going to lose the arbitration case? I believe we can win, especially if we make a good argument today. Are you well, Your Majesty? Your father always had a case of nerves before these sessions. I'm nervous about the arbitration case. We have a lot riding on that. We turned our attention to the front of the room as President Ninez called the meeting to order. This was a special session. So the opening remarks were kept short, but before I knew it, it was time for the individual leaders of South Maricopa to present their speeches. Prime Minister Alma Sultana strode up to the podium. She had to lower the microphone to reach it. Big trouble in a small package. Let's hear what she has to say before passing judgment. The Morellan leader greeted the assembly. Her voice had a melodic lilt to it that I associate with Canal. Mr. President, esteemed leaders, and distinguished guests, it is my honor to speak in these hallowed halls for the first time. I come to you as a representative of New Morella, a country committed to breaking free from the shackles of our repressive past. A country that is now truly aligned with the AN and values of justice, solidarity, and human dignity. And one that is proud to build bridges with those who share our vision of a more equal society. She nodded towards the upper seats of the assembly room. I looked behind me to see Vaxlandian Chancellor Emmerich Hegel applauding fiercely. Lorento, I thought this was a South Maricopa session. Chancellor Hegel is not only on the speaking program, Chancellor Hegel is not on the speaking program. He must have flown to Cairo solely to support Madam Prime Minister. This could be good. If I can leverage Hegel's influence while he's here, that could be an opportunity. It is time for a transition. It's a time of transition for Morella, but as we define our principles and our partnerships, one fact becomes abundantly clear. We can no longer abide by the senseless exploitation of our land, people, and resources. Yeah, I knew this would be about the international trade zone. She hasn't taken her eye off the topic since her election. For too long, our so-called partners in the MEFTM International Trade Zone have dug the ground out from under us. We've allowed them to ravage our soil and abuse our workers while reaping more than their fair share of the profits. They send security forces to guard their gold, yet leave the rest of Morella to the mercy of Durgian terrorists. Oh boy. Meanwhile, the shocking lack of mining regulations in countries such as Rizia shows they are no less careless at home than abroad. I've already made my thoughts on that clear. Wish I could have passed it. I'm just gonna say it. I knew I shouldn't have given in to Rusty. If it wasn't this, she'd go after us for something else. She's trying to prove a point. Morella calls on the Alliance of Nations to recognize our human rights struggle, and to accept that the MEFTM International Zone is to continue and to accept that if the MEFTM International Trade Zone is to continue, any wealth it generates must be reinvested into the Morellan people. Brava, Madam Prime Minister. Chancellor Hegel was standing now. The other AN Gets turned their head in his direction. As fellow stewards of the International Trade Zone and fellow soldiers in the fight against imperialism, the nation of Vaxland supports Morella in its journey. Are you sure that he can't get her into the CSP? Not until Morella improves its military, which may be the reason for the sudden interest in nationalization. Egil sat back down. Nina's motions for Prime Minister Sultana to continue. I thank all of you for your attention today and look forward to forging a brighter future for the people of South Mercopa. All of them. Lorento turned to me as the Morellan Prime Minister wrapped up her speech and returned to her seat. It seems the trade zone is going to be more of a sticking point than I thought. I just hope she doesn't expect me to deal with dirty on her behalf. Speaking of which, Supreme Wise Man Yorga Azmal stepped onto the stage, dressed in a ceremonial robe with a silver trim. Before speaking, he waved his hand in the air 6 times, representing the 6 pillars of Algonquism. I'm surprised he flew out here. Dirge's Supreme Wise Man normally refrains from speaking in public. Whatever he has to say must be important. I admit, I'm very curious. Supreme Wise Man spoke in a deep baritone. Dear great and powerful leaders of South Mercopa, in name of Prophet Ruzek, I salute you all. I am humble enough to know that we men alone cannot decide the fate of a continent, not without God's guidance. And it is God who has guided me here today. We are one of the few nations brave enough to let themselves be ruled by his law, but we are also a country like any other. Yet our attempts to find common ground with our neighbors have been rebuffed over and over, solely on account of our beliefs. I looked over where Alma Sultana was waiting. She was openly scowling. Sorry, I'm fixing my stream again because it keeps doing this. The PM of Morella accuses us of violating her borders, yet it was not so long ago that we were one country. Because of arbitrary lines that have been drawn, my people can no longer visit the graves of their ancestors, or the shrines where they once worshipped. Every single one of us, Durja, Morella, Rizia, Velen, we all have different views, yet we are united by the divine path of Saint Ruzek. It is my humble request that we Durians be able to follow the path as we have for centuries. He sounds reasonable enough. But does what he's saying justify the violent acts committed by Durjan pilgrims? No. On that note, concerns have been raised about the missile tests my country have been conducting. Our aim has only ever been to protect our people and way of life. It is God's will that we use this technology not for evil, but to contribute to global security and stability. Alma Sultana started laughing. It isn't funny, it's scary. What's scary is if he finds the wrong buyer for this technology. Sorry, Buffer again. Azmal put his hands on the podium. How far we have fallen, that the only country in South Mercopa where the pillars of nerdy still stand tall is being treated as a laughingstock. You all speak of the superpowers, but I know there is only one superpower we need to worry about. He pointed upwards. The sooner our nations come together under him, the sooner true peace and prosperity can be realized. Supreme Wise Man Azmal made the pillar sign again as he exited the stage. Gotcha to that. Lorento held back a laugh. Oh, but now it's time for the real heavy artillery. He gestured to an aide to begin taking notes as President Nunez announced Victor Smolik. There were some whispers within the room as Velen's president stepped up to the podium. He silenced them with a theatrical shushing motion, then continued. Dear fellow leaders, I wish I could say I was happy to be here, standing as one of the 6 proud nations of South Mercopa. Yet I only feel sorrow. Sorrow that our magnificent region let itself be torn apart by forces greater than ourselves. I speak, of course, of Arcasia and Rumburg. Velen alienates every country around it, then blames the superpowers. What nerve. Especially since he himself has well-documented ties to United Contena. Convinced of the idea that might makes right, they sow discord among us in order to strengthen themselves. And Velen, poor war-torn Velen, must pay the highest price. Who among you can deny the ATO's involvement in the Velen Civil War? Or Rumburg's shipping of arms to British separatist movement? Nobody in the hall said a word. Victor looked up at me directly. It is to my everlasting regret that when Velen was at its weakest, our direct neighbors opted for an alliance with a nation that has sought to harm us at every turn. I do not blame the great Kingdom of Rizia for this decision, but neither can I ignore that for the past 20 years, Rumburg has maintained a presence to both our north and south. In light of that, I cannot simply accept that the Gilles bombing, the most heinous terror attack to occur in Velen since the Civil War, was the work of a few rogue agents. Rizia has been investigating the organization that we believe to be responsible, but is it a tactic to throw us off track? Rumburg isn't beneath such subterfuge. Was to stop such violence from reoccurring. What will happen to the Vejeks who have made Gilles their home once Rizia, and by proxy Rumburg, regains control of the region? I am a man who respects the rule of law, yet I cannot put my country people at risk by abandoning the territory while these questions still hang in the air. Stay silent. This is why I've decided to invoke the AN Threat Mitigation Protocol for treaty obligations to delay the return of Gilles until that risk is neutralized. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the assembly. I felt many pairs of eyes on me. Just stay silent. This is unprecedented, Your Majesty. No nation has invoked this protocol since the signing of the AN Charter nearly a century ago. The murmurs in the room were growing louder. President Nines banged a gavel for silence. If I may continue, it is not my intention to keep custody of the Zeal region forever. The sooner that safety and security are restored, the sooner that we may begin preparing for an orderly transition. I hope for swift cooperation from His Majesty King Romas and my fellow South Mercopan nations. Together we are strong. He raised his arms in expectation of applause. None came. None of our neighbors has openly taken Velen's side. That bodes well for us. Victor shook his head and left the stage. Damn it, what do I do? You'll have a chance to comment soon enough. I'll get in touch with Velen's foreign ministers as soon as we're back home. There may be a way to straighten things out. Now let's see if Prime Minister Alvarez has any words on the subject. He's not going to help me here because I didn't take the deal, so... But the fact that no one's supporting Velen is a good thing. Prime Minister Patricio Alvarez was next. He straightened his tie as he approached the microphone. Mr. President, may I just start by voicing my heartfelt support for this fine organization and the role that it plays. Were it not for the Alliance of Nations, there would be no way to stop our country's petty quarrels from devouring the world. Which, ladies and gentlemen, is precisely what's in danger of happening today. The nation of Lesbia has observed the gas field dispute between Palais and Regina with some concern. We know from the past that arguments over resources can easily spiral into violence. Before arbitration concludes, we would like to beseech both nations to respect the results, whatever they may be. And we beg the Alliance of Nations to undergo thorough review of the evidence before submitting their decision. Again, buffering, trying to fix that. Apologies. Yeah, sorry, everything still seems to be working. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, it might be because it's ultra low latency. Oh, that might be it. I'll change it next time. Yeah, I'll fix that. I'll fix that for next stream. I'll try to improve this. I'm always trying to improve this thing. Anyway. For our part, it is clear that due to the small size and limited habitability of the region island of Calacabriz, the Grand Duchy of Palais has a greater claim to the field than the Kingdom of Rizia. Should I say something, Mr. Escabel? I don't see the point, but if you like... Malarkey! Sorry, I'm gonna turn my microphone down just a little bit. And again, try to reboot the connection. I wish I had an editor. Everyone turned to look at Vaxandian. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, he's doing exactly what I was hoping for. Oh, yes. He's doing exactly what I was hoping for. Thank goodness. Everyone turned to look at the Vaxandian Chancellor. Hegel bowed his head. Forgive my ill-timed cough. I have a terrible cold today. Yeah, I'm gonna say thank you. I'm just yeah, I think I'm gonna say thank you Because, like, again, he's taking our side. One, he's taking our side. Two, we can get better relations with Morella if Vaxland is, like, you know, if we're friendly with them. And three, Lespia's already kind of an enemy. So, and, like, we're just thanking him for taking our side. It's a reasonable dispute. It's not like we're in an alliance with them. Or maybe it'll come off like we're in an alliance with them. Maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna thank him. Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. He gave me a significant look, then sat back in his chair. That brings me to another point I was going to make today. I speak, of course, of the conspiracy to nationalize the Meftium International Trade Zone. Chancellor Hagel stood up again. Alvarez ignored him. Let us not for 1 second believe that Morella is acting of its own accord. The long arm of the Contanan Security Pact is behind this. By giving in to Prime Minister Sultana's demands, the nations of Lesbia and Rizia would be effectively paying to increase United Contana's sphere of influence. I know I am not alone in wanting to avoid those disastrous consequences. He looked at the Pelasian delegation. Reinhardt and his ministers politely applauded. I will remind Morella and Vaxland that the Alliance of Nations is watching, as is the ATO. Any attempt to seize the international trade zone by unlawful means will be met with retaliation. That will be all. Vaxland is certainly an active participant today. Either that, or Hagel really does have a cold. Looks like Palais is next. Duke Reinhardt stepped up to the podium. With the spiteful on the Pelasian leader, I could see that he had a stubble on his chin and dark circles under his eyes. Say nothing. Lorento raised his eyebrows at the Duke's appearance. I didn't comment. Duke Reinhardt cleared his throat and shuffled a few papers around. As the leader of the youngest nation in southern Mokopa, I am humbled to be in this great hall. I am fully aware that everyone else in this room has spent their lives preparing to be in power, whereas me, let's just say that calling me a dilettante would be generous. I heard laughter from around the hall. He's joking, but it's true. I wonder what he's getting at. But just because I'm inexperienced does not mean I am naive. The Kingdom of Rizia has staked a claim to a gas field that lies in Pelasian waters, and has refused to let go of that claim in spite of all of Palais' counter-offers. I believe that the coronation of His Majesty King Romus heralded a fresh start for our two nations, but I believed wrong. The incident in Velen has proven the lengths to which this dangerous new monarch will go. Excuse me, motherfucker? In this context, it is vital that my emerging nation assert its sovereignty. We hope the Alliance of Nations Arbitration Committee sees through the kingdom's poorly justified infringement of our maritime borders. And we invite our other colleagues in this esteemed organization to engage with us as equals, irrespective of the way our neighbor has treated us. Alvarez rose to his feet. Well said, Your Grace. Stay silent. Good, Your Majesty. Don't play the aggressor. Rest assured that we will resist any further attempts to bully us into submission. And furthermore, criminal! Duke Reinhardt looked shaken by the interjection. That didn't sound like a cough, Chancellor. No, I cannot stay silent while you make your entitled demands. Your family used Palais as a base to pillage the Xenan continent. Everything you had, you stole from someone else. And rather than give it back when the revolution forced your hand, you begged the capitalist swine of Lesbia to help you hold on to your ill-gotten gains. I beg your pardon, Chancellor Hagel, but I am not responsible for my family's sins. But you're happy to profit from them, aren't you? Up there in your glass castle, I'll tell you, Duke Reinhardt, the cracks are beginning to show. I'm not gonna defend the Duke. Damn, Duke Reinhardt just got hageled. So it appears, Your Majesty. President Nines, this man is abusing his guest privileges. Can he be removed? After a short back and forth, President Nines issued the Chancellor a stern warning. He glared out from his seat as Duke Reinhardt finished his speech. He tapped on the mic nervously. I see the Chancellor is still resentful that the people of Palais chose the firm leadership of the Reinhardt family over the chaos of revolution. Yes, the Grand Duchy and the colonialist aims of the Valgos Empire. Aided in the colonialist aims of the Valgos Empire. But like Vagsund, we are ready to put that past behind us and look towards the future. We simply have a different vision. Palais may not have yet truly earned its spot in this assembly, but it is my hope that it will. His voice regained its full confidence now, and any nation that attempts to stop us from doing so will be met with a strong and absolute response. He rushed back to his seat as chatter erupted from the rest of the assembly. It's certainly been an eventful session, Your Majesty. I hope you're ready for your speech. I'm as ready as I'll ever be. I took a deep breath as President Nunez announced my name. Okay. I'm nervous. Let's do this. The runt gave me a quick smile of encouragement as I left my seat. I'm gonna drink. I stepped up to the podium to a smattering of applause. The delegations from Velen and Palais stayed pointedly silent. Dear esteemed fellow members of the Alliance of Nations. It is an immense honor to be addressing this assembly for the first time. As we have seen over and over throughout history, our nations can accomplish much more together than we can apart. Which is why I'm appealing to you all today. I am aware that the comments made by President Victor Smolak earlier in the session demand a response from me. Okay, let's take this step by step, very carefully. So, 1. I hope you all see Velen's failure to return Zeal for what it is, a flagrant violation of international law. Maybe. I mean, is, but like maybe a response. The AN threat mitigation protocol can only be invoked under extreme circumstances. In my opinion, the Gilles incident is not one of them. Not bad. His invocation of AN protocol was completely understandable. What? Absolutely fucking not. I'm not saying that one. What the fuck? No. I'm not... Okay, I'm definitely not going. The transition of Zeal cannot happen until and unless security is restored to the region. No. Why would I do that? I mean, I guess under other circumstances I could, but like, no. Like, I mean, it would be a hell of a thing. It's like, he'd be like, oh, cool, he agrees. But no. However, I do not believe this is an appropriate forum. No. Yeah, I'm gonna put pressure on them. I hope you all see Velen's failure to return Gilles for what it is, a flagrant violation of international law. Any intelligent person can see through the concerns about security in Runeberg as a purely self-serving decision. Don't want to say that. The bombing was a tragedy. However, my kingdom has taken the necessary steps to ensure it will not be repeated. Hello, Tashimo. Still, I'd like to give President Smolk the benefit of the doubt. I think I'll go with 2. The bombing was a tragedy. However, my kingdom has taken the necessary steps to ensure it will not be repeated. Velen's willingness to disregard the terms of a legal document has chilling implications for his relations with the next conflict. I like that. President Smolk pointed his finger at Runeberg, yet failed to mention the financial backing his own countries received from United Contena. Don't want to take that option because Hagel's already in support of us. Don't want to go after Contena. The people of Gilles yearn for their home. Who is Velen to deny it? I'm going with this one. Velen's willingness to disregard the terms of a legal document has chilling implications for his relations with the rest of the continent. Ooh, I don't want to make threats. If President Smolk does not honor the terms of our agreement, we will be forced to take matters in our own hands. Not doing that. So I ask you, Who will join us in holding President Smolak accountable? Do I go directly? Do I go directly? Ooh, this is interesting. I don't know if I want to call on them directly or if I want to say I do not ask for your commitment at this time, only that you will support Rizia when the moment arrives. Or do I want to put the pressure on them immediately and call them out directly? I don't know. It's an interesting question, though. I definitely don't like the second thing. I'm gonna, I don't think I get much from calling them out. Also, I don't like this. The invasion of Dacian, that's terrible rhetoric. I don't like that at all. That just pits people against each other, not what I want. In light of human rights violations, that's not bad, but it does pin a lot on them as well. And I don't want to worsen relations by going after them directly. I think I'll go with 3. I don't love it, but I think 3 is the best option here. I do not ask for your commitment at this time, only that you support Rizia when the moment arrives. I am not yet finished. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. What? Fuck. Okay, fine. I cannot ignore the presence of Chancellor Hagel and his newfound interest in our neighbor Morella. I saw Hagel lean forward in his seat intently. Okay, we can take affirmative. Thank God. Okay. Given the ongoing exploitation happening in Morella, I am not surprised that Prime Minister Sultan has looked to the east for assistance. Rizia and Morella have obtained good relations for centuries. It pains me to see this noble country fall victim to Vassalian influence. No. The specter of encroaching socialism does not scare me as much as the potential loss of our previous resources. No. Fall victim to Vassalian influence. No. Given the ongoing exploitation happening in Morella. No, I may not share Morella's worldview, yet I believe our citizens' struggles are one and the same. As Morella's longtime allies, we are prepared to offer what assistance we can in building a more equitable MITZ. Prime Minister Sultana began applauding. Hegel looked pleasantly surprised. I am not opposed to reopening trade zone negotiations, as long as Rizia continues to be able to provide for its citizens. Prime Minister Alvarez and the lesbian delegation were speaking in worried whispers. President Nunez again gestured for silence, then motioned for me to continue. That's good. I'm glad they're worried. I like this a lot. In the same spirit of cooperation, I believe a compromise can be reached regarding Durgia's religious travelers. The division of the former Empire Meridia has pitted brothers against brothers. The violence must end. Scattered applause came from around the assembly hall. Finally, a word regarding Palais. Okay, what do we got here? It's to my great dismay that my kingdom has been forced to quarrel with our closest neighbor. Maybe. Duke Reinhardt said he wants other nations to engage with Palais as an equal. That is exactly what Rizia is doing. Yeah. Despite the Duke's claim, Rizia is not the aggressor in the situation. That's true. The gas dispute is nothing less than a fight for South Morcopa's right to self-determination. These are all pretty solid, actually. Duke Reinhardt has said that he wants other nations to engage with Pale as an equal. That is exactly what Rizia has been doing. Oh, do I want to go for them immediately with the ATO comment? If we truly wanted to intimidate Pally into giving up control of the gas field, we would have done so. No, that's an implicit threat. I don't like that. My kingdom is not even asking for ownership of the entire territory in question, only our rightful half. Okay, I'm gonna go with the drill ship. Pally sent a drill ship to disputed territory. Our response should not come as a surprise. It is my hope that the Alliance of Nation Arbitration Committee ignores the emotional statements that have been made today and focuses on the facts. No, that's... no. I'm convinced that a peaceful compromise can be reached with the Alliance of Nations' help. As a signee of the AN Directive of Offshore Resources, we have a right to the undersea gas within 200 kilometers from our coast, no matter which coast. We are counting on the arbitrators to make the correct decision here. Ooh. If Rizia does gain control of this valuable resource, I promise all of South Morcopa will benefit. President Nina's motioned to the clock. My speech had gone over its runtime. I will conclude with these words. President Smolak was wrong. It is not the superpowers who are tearing us apart. We are doing it to ourselves. But I hold out hope that we may find our way back to each other. Thank you. I sat down, and Aide handed me a glass of water. Well done, Your Majesty. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I think I did well. It'll take a while to digest the ramifications. Let's update on all of this once we're back in Rizia. Filing back out of the assembly hall, I noticed the sound of rain on the dome had stopped. Another sunny day in Constantinium. Okay, let's see what we got. AN threat mitigation protocol is being employed by Velen to address the contentious issue of the Geo return, a decision underscored by significant geopolitical risks. This protocol, reserved for critical scenarios, reflects the gravity of the situation as the kingdom navigates the complex Alliance of Nation framework. Okay. Oh boy. Ariana Torres Association leads peaceful protests against Velen's AN decision. Oh, okay, very good. In the week since Victor Smolak's AN announcement, the Geo branch of the Ariana Torres Association has spearheaded a number of peaceful demonstrations meant to show the Velen government that the citizens of Geo want to be reached once more. The association's spokesperson has vowed the demonstrations will continue until Geo is returned. Good. That's very, very good. Romus the Red wine launch event. Ooh, fun. Public transportation inefficiency crisis. We'll look at that in a second. Let's see the news. Velen announcement throws Gilles into confusion. Makes sense. The people of Gilles, the future hanger in the balance, will be watching closely. Okay, there's a lot in Geopolitico. Let's take a quick look. Vexlandian Chancellor interrupts the session. We need not remind you that Palais was once Valkish territory. A shocker. AN shocker. Velen refuses to relinquish Gilles. Yep. Kinal emerges as a strategic ATO hub. Okay. Significant reduction in Arcadian military presence in war-torn regions. Okay, that's not as interesting as I expected, but that's okay. What have we got here? I'll take this decision first. Public transportation and efficiency crisis. Public transportation faces future crisis. Let's see. Rija's public transportation system is grappling with an efficiency crisis, strained by burgeoning demands and passenger numbers. Transportation officials are pushing for urgent action, highlighting the need for increased funding and modernization. The government must decide between investing in infrastructural improvements, technological upgrades, or exploring alternative transit solutions. The outcome will crucially impact the daily lives of regions and the efficiency of urban mobility. Investing in infrastructural improvements, technological upgrades, or exploring alternate transit solutions. The region infrastructure networks are backbone. Uh-oh. Vital rail link falls. Due to a technical issue affecting the vital railroad switch near Kalo, train traffic between Port Drazon and Monkeys has been cut. While this issue will likely be resolved in a few days, the closure of the vital railway is expecting not just passenger traffic, but also the transport of goods between the Monkeys Harbor and the rest of the country. That's not good. That's really not good. Can I do anything about that? This rail stretch further across our lands. They not only connect places, but also hearts and minds. I mean, I don't have the authority right now, but that's not a bad move. God, I wish I had more authority. Okay. Yeah, not much I can do else for now. Without, of course, more authority. Ramus the Red wine launch event. In the fertile lands of Kalis, the Cantuavo vineyards are among the oldest in Risha. They were run by a revered winemaking family, now in their 5th generation, who had long ago been awarded noble status for the fine wines they provided the kingdom. Tonight, they had invited my family and council over for the ceremonial uncorking of their latest vintage, Ramus the Red. Borrowed on my coronation day, was now ready for drinking. I wished I was in more of a celebratory mood. Valen's announcement at the AN had plunged the country into panic. I was besieged by demands to take action to get Gilles back. As if that weren't enough, tensions with Pali were higher than ever. We were still waiting the arbitration results. And gas tankers were venturing off from Monkeys, Port Drazon, and Fort Ale to Roomberg to fulfill our natural gas exports every single day. For now, all I had to do was open a wine bottle, but even that was politicized. Hugo had stressed the importance of keeping the Cantuavo family loyal to our house. Our motorcade rolled up to the vineyard entrance, where a festival tent decorated in the blue, white, and gold of the region flag had been set up. After a thorough security sweep, my mother Estella, Vina, Hugo, and I proceeded to our table. Pavel smoothly approached and poured us glasses of sparkling water. I had the pleasure of supervising the pre-tasting with the vineyard staff. I must say, the family has truly outdone themselves this time. How splendid. I can't wait. I honestly think you'll love it. It's light on the palate at first, but it has hidden depths. That sounds perfect, Mr. Adria. But please, stick to conservative pours for His Majesty. It's unbecoming of a king to get intoxicated at these functions. Lucita, Lena, and Lorento walked past us and were seated at the table next to ours. All three were dressed more festively than the simple formal wear they wore to council meetings. But Lucita's slinky, intricately beaded yellow gown was particularly eye-catching. Oh God, I'm sorry about my voice. My mother turned to me and muttered under her breath, "Oh my, the mountains of Monteclair are on full display tonight." Wait. But Lucita's slinky... Wait. Okay. Lucita's slinky, intricated beaded yellow gown was particularly eye-catching. The mountains of Oh, okay, okay. That took me a second. I thought she was talking about scenery. And how? Vina rolled her eyes in disgust. I still don't understand what we're doing here, especially with all that's been going on. Politics, Your Highness. In case our foreign situation escalates, we'll require the support of House Taurus and our home province more than ever. Yes, we must keep attending functions as usual. As the royal family, we've got a spirit of Rizia to uphold. Precisely, Your Majesty. In this case, it's especially important that for our wealthiest citizens to be reassured that their assets will remain stable. The rest of the attendees began filing in. It was a small elite crowd comprising barons and baronesses, viscounts and CEOs from around the region. They bowed as they passed my table, but some of their smiles seemed ungenuine. I thought I heard someone whisper sword lover. Estella flashed me a look of warning. There's no pleasing these people, darling. Better to ignore them. After everyone had settled in, the head of the winery gave a short opening greeting, then welcomed me onto the stage. I stopped behind the microphone. A magnum-sized bottle of Ramus the Red stood on the table behind me. Great citizens of Alancares. I am honored to lend my name to this exceptional creation, produced by the best winemakers in the country. No, the world. The wines of this vineyard have always delighted our palates in times of joy and calmed our nerves in times of sorrow. I am heartened that so many of you have come here today to celebrate tonight, especially in the wake of recent events. I am confident that with your help, Rizia will become stronger than ever. We must not forget that Alancares is not an island. We should not be scared to look outwards, to rekindle our international friendships. Like that which my grandmother formed with the Kingdom of Swordland. There's a round of polite applause. I couldn't tell what my audience was thinking. Me neither. Sorry, adjusting my mic a little bit. I know one thing for certain. By this time next year, we'll be raising a glass of Ramus the Red to a reunited Rizia. The attendees applauded slightly more loudly. Good. For now, we will bear witness to the miracles that the Cantualva family have worked with the humble grape. I heard cheers as a representative of the winery handed me a ceremonial corkscrew and a glass. Ooh. Ooh, these are all good options, actually. Symbol of Unity with Duchess Lucida, not bad. Hugo Torres, a man of Alancares, also, again, not bad. I think giving it to Vina is... I like giving it to Vina. I'd like to invite Princess Vina to do the honors. Vina blushed furiously as she got on stage. An assistant quickly procured a second glass. My daughter opened the bottle and poured us each a small amount. Gloria Saxarisha. We clinked glasses and drank. It was delicious. A light, refreshing taste gradually developed into a darker and more complex finish. There's a final round of applause as Vienna and I stepped off the stage. Pavel and the winery staff began circling around the tables with wine and food. Thank you for the invitation, Father, and for the speech. You thought it was good? Well, doesn't matter what I thought, does it? Of course it does. Vina walked over to sit next to her grandmother. I spent a good several hours mingling with relatives and fellow nobles, posing for photographs with the winemakers and fending off journalists. Every time I attempted to sit down and eat, I was deluged with more requests. My glass, on the other hand, was constantly being refilled. By the end of the evening, I was having some trouble keeping names and faces straight. The tent gradually emptied out, and the guests departed. The winery had an attached luxury villa where our delegation had been invited to stay for the night. Hugo, Estella, Vina, and I began saying our final goodbyes before making our way upstairs. Despite the shaky start, I think our fellow guests came away quite happy. I would call this evening a smashing success, with the emphasis on smashing. Vina was clutching my mother's arm, looking half-dazed. Ramus the Red, long may he reign, she hiccuped. That's right, darling. Now let's get you to bed. I heard an uproarious burst of laughter from the other side of the room. My 3 counselors were still at their table. Lucida's eyes were sparkling as she regaled the other two with an apparently hilarious anecdote. I'll be right behind you. Just have to say goodnight to my staff. Take your time, sweetheart. She gave me a knowing smile. Vina was too busy attempting a pirouette in her ball gown to register what I'd said. As my family headed out, I walked over to my counselor's table. And you just stormed into my barracks without a stitch on, screaming, if you weren't a duchess, I'd have you drawn and quartered. What are you 3 so merry about? Oh! She, Lorento, and Elena immediately straightened up and stopped laughing. Your Majesty, the Duchess was telling us about the time she hid her commanding officer's fatigue while he was swimming. It was a dare back in basic training. I had to scrub the kitchen floor for 3 weeks, but it was worth it. It's part of a drinking game, Your Majesty. A rather infantile one. Can I play? The 3 of them looked at each other. Yes, of course, Your Majesty. Pavel, some wine for the king, please. Right away, Mr. Escabel. I think I have a good relationship with them. I think they all actually trust me, so, like, you know, I think this will actually be fun and not, like, they're terrified, like, pissing themselves, like, about me joining. Pavel approached the table and gave me a generous pour of Ramus the Red. Well, you too, Pavel. I detected cautious excitement in his eyes. It would be my pleasure, Your Majesty. He sat down. Lucida rubbed her hands together. Perfect, Pavel. I think we'd all love to learn more about you. Now, have you played Facts or Fiction before? I have not, Duchess. It's simple. You tell us 3 statements about yourself. 2 of them have to be true, and 1 must be a lie. Each of us then guesses which statement is false. If we guess wrong, we have to drink. She gestured to Pavel, who quickly topped up her wine glass. It was just my turn. I'll let His Majesty choose the next player. Well, since I missed your story, I think you should take another turn, Duchess Azaro. Lucida gave me a sly smile. As you wish, Your Majesty. Despite my Azaro heritage, I couldn't stand the sight of blood as a child. There was a time when I fainted from pricking my own finger. My cousin Zola confided in me that she despised her husband-to-be, so I falsified evidence that I was having an affair with a commoner. The engagement was broken off at once. And I have a lucky set of undergarments that I wear to important meetings and military exercises. Lorento raised an eyebrow. Intriguing, dear Duchess, but false. Azaros don't fall prey to superstition. I believe the cousin story. I think that's true. Also, even if they're not superstitious, a lucky underwear doesn't have to be literally lucky. It can just be the thing you like wearing and you wear it for special occasions. I don't think that's false. I'm gonna say if there's one thing Azaros don't do, it's faint at the sight of blood. That's the lie. Agreed. I'm afraid the Duchess made this too easy. No, the blood story is so implausible that it must be true. I have my doubts about your role in the dissolution of your cousin's engagement. Lucida shook her head. Mr. Escobar had it right. I don't wear lucky underwear on important days. Ah, drink. Babel, Elena, and I drank. Lucida continued with a mischievous smile on her face. Very good. That was smart. I did believe the cousin story, though. Actually, on such occasions, I find it invigorating to wear nothing at all beneath my uniform. There's the catch. Lorenzo and Elena shot each other amused looks. Babel politely coughed. Perhaps now would be a good time for Duchess Zara to retire. There's been a great deal of wine flowing tonight. It's all harmless fun. Perhaps now would be a good time for Duchess Zara to retire. There's been a great deal of wine flowing tonight. It's all harmless fun, Babel, isn't it, Your Majesty? No, I'm not saying the first one. Yes, we all deserve some reprieve from stiff formalities of royal life. Babel frowned. My apologies to you both. I was only trying to be helpful. If you'd like to be helpful, you can fetch us a new bottle. This one's almost empty. Straight away, Duchess Cesaro. He disappeared into the kitchen, came back with more wine. Lucida looked at me expectantly. Go ahead, Mr. Escobar. With pleasure. He gave his wine glass a dramatic swirl. When I'm in a diplomatic meeting that I know is trivial, I draw caricatures instead of taking notes. When I was just out of university, I challenged the mayor of Salabay to a duel. I accidentally shouted, "All hail the new queen," at His Majesty King Valero's coronation. That's okay. One is a funny one, saying he shouted "queen." That's funny. That's believable. That's totally believable. But he does despise aggression. I don't think he would have initiated a duel, but he could have a more. This is totally a possibility of like he used to be more angry and aggressive when he was younger, and became more diplomatic as he got older. He could totally be dueling. I'm gonna go with. Ooh, I don't know. I believe all of these, actually. These all seem pretty reasonable. These are all good. You're not really dueling during meetings, are you? If you were, I doubt he'd admit to you. The duel scenario seems the most far-fetched to me. I've heard the duel story 100 times, Lorento. You didn't challenge the mayor of Salabay. It was the Earl of Halle. Ah, Lorento gave her an abashed look. You know me too well, Miss Werner. I guess I'm drinking again. Lucida drained her glass. I followed suit. Elena smirked triumphantly. I noted Pabel's look of slight concern. So you called my father a queen? Quite accidentally, Your Majesty, and it was drowned out in the loud chorus of other voices. How anticlimactic, Mr. Escobar. She tapped on her glass. Pabel dutifully refilled it. Who's our next victim? Miss Werner, if you please. I still find this childish. In my day, if people wanted to get drunk, they got drunk. But if you insist. She thought for a moment. I have an antique coin collection that's worth more than my house. My late husband and I once undertook a 3-week sailing trip to Gamland and back. And I once had to stop Queen Liza from purchasing a diamond necklace with Regent treasury money. Ooh. No, I remember. She gets seasick. She didn't sail to Gamland. She gets seasick. You didn't really sail to Gamland. I call foul in the Liza story. Her Majesty was beyond such shenanigans. Ah, nah. I can believe Her Majesty Queen Liza would attempt such a purchase, but not that you would stop it, Miss Werner. Lorento grinned and shook his head. This is too easy. If there's one thing you hated more than sailing, it was your dearly departed husband. Elena sighed. Yes, that's right. Lucita and Pabel picked up their glasses. Each took a healthy sip. So you've got fortunate antique coins, do you? Ask me anything about Markian ducats and Regnant medallions. Well done, Miss Werner. Who's next? Let's hear from Pabel. My butler gave a graceful nod. Certainly, Your Majesty. He paused to think. My father once made me weed a patch of stinging nettles as punishment for shirking off on duty. Little did he know, I rather enjoyed the sensation. I once overheard a Rumburgian royal valet make a demeaning comment about Queen Mother Estella during a diplomatic visit. I persuaded our chef to put an excessive amount of pepper in his food at the staff dinner. He looked down at the table. In the 20s, I wrote a poem about that was selected for the annual Regent Literary Compendium. Pseudonymously, of course. Pseudonymously, of course. Lucida laughed lightly. There's the falsehood. Running a royal household doesn't leave one with much time for poetry. The butler's wine descriptions have verged on poetry at times. I'd prefer to believe he doesn't take perverse pleasure in stinging nettles. And I'd rather not believe the story about the Rumburgian ballet, as hilarious as it might have been. You don't like stinging nettles, Pebble? No one does. Pebble smiled grimly. Correct. That was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I want to know more about this poem. There's not much to know, Your Majesty. It was many years ago. Lucida cleared her throat. I think we're forgetting something. She turned to Lorento, and the two clinked glasses and drank. My foreign counselor had a contemplative look as he put his glass down. I read that compendium regularly. What was your pseudonym? It isn't important. Wait, let me guess. Aha! Paul Adair from 1929. I was a shadow to your light, a silent witness to the burden you bore. A chasm yawns between us now, eager to be filled with talk and touch. And like two rising tides beneath a setting sun, we are pulled back to each other with a force that knows no bounds. And just as a velvet evidence of night claims day's end, your fire consumes me, my heart. He was interrupted by a sudden clatter coming from Pablo's direction. Everyone turned to look at my butler. Forgive me, I dropped my wine glass. I'll have it cleared up at once. He turned away to signal a winery staff member. Silence descended around our table. Well, whichever palace maid they wrote that one for is a lucky girl. Shall we continue? I'll give it a go myself, if you don't mind. My counselors looked at me with no small amount of excitement. I could feel my head spinning. I racked my brain for ideas. I have a birthmark on my chest in the exact shape of the Palais Administrative District. I can belch the Frisian national anthem. This is good too. Growing up in Palais Taurus, I once mistook a priceless Marquian face for your. My great-grandfather, King Xavi II, never actually had a mustache. I drew one on his royal portrait a long time ago. Oh, I like all of these. I'm gonna go with the Merkin face. Suzerain. I was having trouble concentrating. I blurted out the first thing that came to mind. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I should have done a lie earlier. I didn't expect to come to this. I was secretly happy when my father died. The others exchanged troubled looks. Lorento cautiously spoke up. Of course you weren't happy when King Valero died, Your Majesty. That was the lie. The others quickly nodded their assent. I don't... Oh. I should have said I could belch the national anthem. No, that was the truth. There was a palpable feeling of tension in the air. My table mates consciously avoided looking at me or each other. So, what was the lie, Your Majesty? I don't like this anymore. This isn't fun. Do I turn it? I don't like this. I don't like this. Why, I wish I said a lie before, but the urinal story was too funny. No, not one. This is getting way too serious. I don't like this at all. I don't like this. I want to keep. I think I don't want to. I don't want to just lie, but like also I want the pleasantries to go back to normal. You all guessed wrong. Why aren't you drinking? Lucidas and the others quickly drained their glasses. Pavel cleared his throat. Your Majesty, you have a long day ahead of you tomorrow. Why don't we adjourn? We were just getting to the good stuff. I want it to be fun again. Lorenzo pushed back his chair. This elder statesman is going to call it an evening, Your Majesty. Thank you for an enlightening time. Yes, we all learned a great deal, possibly too much. Lucida shook her head. The more intimately we know each other, the better we can fight as a team. It's an old army trick. Shall I escort you to your quarters, Your Majesty? Yes, thank you. My counselors and I said our goodbyes and dispersed to the rooms we were staying in. Ooh, I wish I'd said a lie. That got dark. I suddenly became acutely aware of how much wine I'd had to drink. Pavel helped me keep steady as we made our way upstairs to my suite. He swiftly ushered me inside and took off my coat. The butler's quarters here are connected by an adjoining door. Just knock if you need me. Pavel walked over to the side of the room. He paused with his hand on the doorknob. So, that poem, those feelings? Rom. It was a very long time ago. He turned the knob. Wait, don't go. Wait. Pavel stopped and turned around. He cautiously lifted his eyes to meet mine. Oh. It was a beautiful poem. I was reckless to submit it for publication. I must have missed you that much. Oh. Oh, there was a... Oh. I'll never forget what we had back then, but it's over. Pavel took a deep breath. He smoothed his hair back. Yes, of course. I was foolish to hope otherwise. Good night, Ramos. He left the room and gently closed the door behind him. With some difficulty, I undressed and crawled into bed. I slept more soundly than I had in months. Oh, that was sad. That was really sad. I don't entirely know what to make of that, but that was sad. Large gathering in Gilles prohibited. As part of increasingly tight security measures, public gatherings of over 50 people are now prohibited in the region of Gilles. While critics see this as a restriction of voices calling for a return of the region to Rizia, officials have guaranteed Rizia that the measures were merely intended to increase the safety of both region and Vajiks living in the region. I don't believe you. Solon offers investment opportunity. Choose to negotiate or decline. Ooh. Amidst a recession, Sordland's government, led by Alfonso, has presented a potentially lucrative bond sales trade opportunity to be discussed at the capital of Sordland. The royal visit will include the household and has additional expenditures. Investment opportunity? Wait, us investing in them or them investing in us? Romus the Bachelor. Yes, but that was sad. Yeah, that was sad. I mean, I don't want to spend one budget. bond sales, huh? Are they buying bonds in us? Okay, I want to increase relations with Swordland. I think this could be a good opportunity. I'm not very reliant on their economy because I know how the last playthrough ended. But if they're investing in us, that'll be a pretty big deal. Sure. Okay, we'll hold the talks. Solon prepares to host King Romus. After we agreed to attend talks in Holzer regarding a lucrative investment opportunity, the Sword's capital now hurriedly prepares itself to host our king. Reportedly, the former royal quarters in the Ramoon Palace are now to house royalty once more, even if only for a few days. Xena Continent positions as CSP front. Alright, delegation trip to discuss bond offer. Our delegation arrived at Holzard International Airport early in the afternoon. President Edvald Alfonso and a contingent of Surge officials were there to greet us. By the time we reached the base of Holzard Tower, the sun had begun to dip lower in the sky, bathing the city in a golden hue. Accompanying me were my counselors, Lorenzo Escobar and Elena Werner, as well as my daughter. As our vehicle came to a stop, President Alfonso stepped forward with a welcoming gesture. "Welcome to Holzard Tower, King Romus. I can't tell you how much I've been looking forward to today. It's an occasion to celebrate the multifaceted economic partnership we are building between our great nations." President Alfonso, what a grand venue for equally grand designs. You said it, Your Majesty. President Edvald Alfonso's gaze briefly swept across our group before setting on Princess Vina. Princess Vina, it's an honor to welcome you. Mr. Manger and our team will ensure all your needs are met during your stay. Thank you, President Alfonso. I've studied much about Swordland's recent history. Can't wait to experience your culture firsthand. Consider us at your service, Your Highness. Should you have any requests or need assistance, please don't hesitate to let me know. Splendid. And if today's meeting goes like our last did, I assume the taste of Swordland's finest beverages is in order. If Your Majesty desired, so it will be, although Rizia is already well acquainted with our fine whiskey by now. Kebhi, on the other hand, is a local treat. I warn you, that's a bit rustic, but it has its own special charms. We'll continue this conversation over dinner. The views from the revolving restaurant are nothing less than astounding. Upon entering the grand lobby of Holzer Tower, we were directed towards a lavish elevator. The cabin slowly ascended, giving us a momentary sense of detachment from the world below. The cityscape of Holzer became a moving panorama through the glass walls. From the cobbled streets of the old town to the skyscrapers of Maroon District, the greenery of the capital park to the diversity of New Ellery, the city was a seamless blend of past and present. Quite the sight, isn't it? It's always interesting to see Holzer from this perspective. I hope your first impression of our city is a favorable one. You may have heard we're striving to diversify Rizia's economy away from resources. Holzer's modernity is an inspiration to us. Yes, it's been quite the challenge to explore new economic paths while staying true to our historic roots. Valgan, the place where I'm from, has been struggling to do the very same thing. It's difficult, but it's the only way to survive. The reforms we have embarked on in the last 5 years is the medicine to our economy needed for a long-term future. It may take a while, but we'll get out of soul stagnation. The elevator gently halted at the top of the Holzor Tower and the doors slid open, revealing the entrance to the revolving restaurant. Alfonso continued to talk. You read the news, Your Majesty. I won't pretend the Sword's economy hasn't seen a downturn since our last meeting. But the recession of 51 was a direct result of the entrenched systemic issues we inherited. Thanks to our aggressive economic reforms I'm putting into place, our growth will only skyrocket from here. Sorry about that. It may be a controversial move, but privatizing key sectors and, crucially, attracting foreign investment will position Swordsland towards a globally competitive, prosperous, and stable future in the 60s. I understand completely, Mr. President, but if I may be so bold, how can you be sure these radical changes won't deepen the divide between the rich and poor in your country? Be as bold as you want, Your Highness. As someone who's worked in rural areas and seen the reality, let me tell you, investment and growth often lifts all boats. Sure, we need to tackle the wealth gap, but it's not just about handouts, it's about creating real, sustainable opportunities. I see merit in your approach. Regia itself could benefit from the kinds of liberal economic changes you're implementing here. It's encouraging to hear that you see the potential in liberal reforms, Your Majesty, just as I acknowledge the benefits of Regia's adherence to tradition. It's proof that our countries have much to offer each other. So, here we are. The restaurant's large window offered an unobstructed view of Holzord's expanse. The staff guided us towards a large table. The gentle hum of conversation enveloped us as we were seated. Any questions about this magnificent panorama, Your Majesty? I'm happy to offer my insights into the various districts of our fair city. I would love to learn more about Holzord, Mr. President. I looked out the window. What inspired the development of the Maroon District? It's quite contrast to the Old Town. That's what our late President Vichy intended. His initial conception for the district was taken over by President Tarquin's Soul after the Civil War. It was renamed to symbolize the rebirth of Holzord under the Second Republic. It's a blend of modernist and neoclassical architecture, reflected the aspirations Soul held for a progressive Swordland at the time. It's got all the fancy buildings, businesses, embassies, everything a modern metropolis could need. President Alfonso, could you tell us more about the Old Town? It's a lot like your Old Town in Port Drazon, just newer. The city was founded on the east side of Esquel River in the early 1400s. It started as a key rest and recovery stop for traders, growing significantly during the Renan period. The architecture from the Renan days to the Sorangolian Union State era is a mirror of Sordland's history. That's right. The Old Town's got this timeless aura, you know? The tourists can't get enough of it. Capitol Park and the surrounding government buildings are impressive. The park's a favorite spot for the folks around here. Great place to relax and get away from the city rush. And the government buildings, including the Maroon Palace and Grand National Assembly, are not just architectural marvels, but also the epicenters of our national governance. These buildings represent our democratic journey, especially the Assembly, where elected representatives work for Swordland's future. Is that a street market I see down New Orlery? Yes, it's there every week, part of the district's melting pot charm. Ever since migrants from Illyrie started settling there a few centuries ago, it's attracted all kinds of diverse inhabitants. I'd call it Halzard's most vibrant neighborhood. Not to mention that the nightlife can't be beat. Remind me to take you to Cabaret La Cavern if we have time after dinner. How do you see the evolution of Halzard? I'd say it mirrors that of Swordland itself. It's been rebuilding, growing, changing with the times. And just like Swordland, it stands strong no matter what's thrown at it, even in the face of our recent challenges. What about your own history with Halzard, Mr. President? Alfonso took a sip from his whiskey and looked out into the distance. I started out at Gasum after the I started out at Gasum in the aftermath of the Civil War during the Restoration period. Gasum became a symbol of our national resurgence. I remember navigating through the maze of old monarchist sentiments and the ambitions of Sol in his new republic. Tell me more about the Restoration period. Simply put, it was a time of rebuilding and reimagining Sordland's future. Sol's government made massive efforts to repair the war's physical and social damage, creating a new civic identity grounded in Republican values. In Holzord, this meant not only overhauling the city's infrastructure, but also its very culture. But by the 40s, many of the programs had become unnecessary. Let's not bore our delegation further. We all know why we're really here. It was time for me to make the opening remarks for the bond deal discussion. This section has been way longer than I thought. Not that that's a bad thing. I am hungry, though. Success for whiskey, wine deal, and resort investments paid solid path for us. I'm excited to continue on this trajectory. The success of our whiskey, wine deal, and resort investment has paved a solid path for us. I'm excited to continue on this trajectory. As am I, Your Majesty. You'll be glad to know that Sorlin's opinion of Rizia has risen considerably since those deals were made. That's great to hear, Mr. President. The deals have had quite the impact in Rizia as well. According to reports from our treasurer, our alcoholic beverage industry has witnessed doubling in commerce, accompanied by a significant uptick in consumption metrics. The tax revenue has been substantial, though not as much as it would be if our wine exports were not limited by region whiskey demand. She gave the source delegation a pointed look. Vina spoke up hesitantly. I will say that not everyone in Rizia has been on board with the increased alcohol consumption. The Golcondas community in particular has its reservations. Golcondas say, well, there's no pleasing them. In all seriousness, we are keen to know about the current economic situation of the Kingdom of Rizia. Our recent research and inquiries haven't been fully answered. I do know that your treasury has been seeing a significant influx of funds lately. Money that sits around is money wasted. Nobody wants that, not even the Golden Kingdom. Additionally, recent energy output seems to be historically low at the moment. Yeah, a little bit. We can't do much about that right now, but perhaps today could be a stepping stone towards a lucrative agreement in this direction. I'm focused on improving the energy situation. Expect us to have a high net surplus soon. You know best, King Romus. I have complete faith in your assessment. There was a pause in the discussion as the first course was served. It was a deconstructed version of La Cavan-style lorsha, with a hot seafood stock poured over clams, mussels, and cubed raw salmon. That sounds really good. Also, I am very hungry. After we'd been eating for a few minutes, President Alfonso cleared his throat. So, what we're offering Rizia is the chance to purchase Swordfish government bonds with a 4-year maturity at excellent rates. Oh boy. Despite the current recession, we're on a path to economic revitalization, thanks to significant investments being secured from Kina and Anrika, as well as our progressive policy reforms. As you're already aware, a key aspect of these reforms is the further privatization of crucial sectors, including energy. Gazprom is at the forefront of this transformation, and it's poised to play a central role in our recovery. The bond issue is a chance for Rizia not only to make financial gains, but also to diversify its economy. You mentioned future benefits for Rizia by signing this deal. Could you elaborate on what these might be? What these might entail? Gladly. Given my chairman position with Gazprom, we can explore investment opportunities in energy. Let's say preferential access to energy resources and shares, as well as a chance to become a part of Gazprom's revitalization, which I'm actively steering. An interesting proposition. We must carefully analyze how it aligns with Rizia's energy security strategy. By making Gazprom more competitive and efficient, we're not only boosting our own economy, but also enhancing the security and potential returns of your investment. If this bond deal and Gazprom's plan succeed, it could indeed unlock significant advantages for Rizia. A prime example would be the potential reduction of import taxes on Rizian goods. Can you be more specific about how our economy will benefit? Sure, we have the potential to reduce import taxes by 10% if our partnership develops after the bond returns, to give just one example. Given the current recession in Swordland, how can you assure us these investments will bear fruit? We need to review the economic performance indicators and further recovery plans thoroughly. Growth forecasts alone aren't enough. As I mentioned, the investments we're receiving from Kina and Anrika are substantial. Coupled with our reforms, they're projected to significantly boost our economy. This is not mere speculation. Our plans are calculated based on economic principles and behind a sound free market strategy. Calculated strategies are one thing, real-world outcomes are another. Our kingdom can't afford a failure here. These aren't just hopes and dreams. They're well-thought-out plans on hard economic data. We are setting Swordland on a path to robust rebound. Your liberal economic policies, your plan to sell shares of Gazprom, it's all very ambitious. And risky. As we've seen from time to time with our own regional gold company, privatization has its drawbacks. I understand that, but with great risks comes great reward. Our new plan is aimed at boosting market confidence and stability. It will enhance the security and profitability of your initiative. Liberalizing Gascom should increase its market efficiency and shareholder value, boosting fiscal revenues. This should, in theory, lead to higher bond yields and a more favorable debt to GDP ratio. Truly a win-win scenario. Your re-election is far from guaranteed, President Alfonso. How can we be sure your successor will follow the economic course you've set? A valid question, but our economic policies are designed to withstand political changes. The landscape in Swordland is ever-changing, and Anton Rain could well prevail in the next elections. Despite this, the bond proposal is built with long-term stability and growth in mind. So far, Rain and I have enjoyed an amicable relationship. If he does win the presidency, I'm sure he'll listen to my advice on economic matters. That's super interesting. I love this. I love how they've built the connection between the last playthrough. At the very least, he'll listen to Gus. Gus grinned. Economic continuity trumps political shifts, Your Majesty. I guarantee you that. We can move ahead with more details. So far, this has all been reassuring to hear. What are your thoughts, Your Majesty? Unless we receive a guarantee for our risk, I feel like these statements are fake assurances. No investment is without risk, but our economic trajectory and strategic reforms are designed to mitigate these risks and ensure favorable outcomes to our partners. I'd like to move on to the financial specifics of our government bonds, focusing on the returns and region guilders. I'll break it down for you. We arrived today with two bond proposals, one large, one small. But based on the current status of our treasury, I'll assume our bigger and better proposal is off the table. Let's continue with the smaller one. Gus took a quick sip of his glass of Swordish wine. Now, considering a more cautious investment of 3 billion region guilders, the potential returns in the case of a successful economic recovery are still impressive. If our projections are accurate, Riga could see its investment grow to about 9 billion guilders. Not as much as if you'd invested more, but nothing to sneeze at either. Even a smaller investment isn't without its risks, especially given the current economic volatility in Swordland. I understand, but we've been nothing but transparent about our economic prospects thus far. I promise things will only get better from here. Even with a more conservative investment, the synergy from our existing deals provide a solid base for further collaboration. Indeed, Mr. President, we in Riga are definitely interested in broadening our economic horizons. A larger bond investment could serve as a strategic catalyst to expand our relationship beyond trade into broader economic cooperation. As the restaurant continued its gentle orbit, our second course arrived. It consisted of an airy sheep cheese mousse between two sheets of crisp pastry, garnished with a rainbow of fresh herbs and edible flowers. I think this is supposed to be svabli, Your Majesty, a wholesome specialty, though it's not usually this flowery. The question now is, where does Riga see itself in the future? As a regional power in South Mercopa, or are you aiming for a more global presence? I want our kingdom to be a global player. Our partnership should expand far beyond existing ties to Rumorg and other monarchies. Alfonso smiled. That's what I want to hear. I know you harbor family ties to Queen Beatrice, but to be frank, strengthening trade with other nations, especially one with dynamic liberal economies, will be far more beneficial for you than sticking with Rumberg. There may even come a time when you don't need grace at all. Vina hurriedly made an effort to change the subject. No matter what, we regions do see ourselves as an influential force. Our culture, our resources, our strategic position, all of that matters in Bracopa and beyond. Elena smiled at her approvingly. Very true, Your Highness, but diving headfirst into the global arena demands a robust economic foundation. We should ensure our internal stability before expanding our footprint. Your caution is prudent, Miss Werner, but I believe in the dynamism of capitalism. It thrives on bold moves and calculated risks, as perfectly exemplified by the offer we're bringing to the table. What do you say to this new opportunity, King Romus? What do you think I should do, Vina? Oh, thank you for asking, Father. let's see. I might not grasp all the intricacies of finance, but I believe in decisions that reflect our nation's spirit. Queen Liza would have said yes to a new partnership rather than close Risha's doors. But I do wonder what Aunt B, Queen Beatrice, will think. If anyone is more suspicious of Sorlin than House Taurus, it's her. Tensions between Rumberg and Sorlin do seem to be on the rise. Perhaps it would be unwise to take sides. The free market knows no sides, Your Majesty, but I can assure you I'm doing my best to alleviate those tensions. I'm ready to decide. Will we make history together, Your Majesty? Look, here's the thing. I know exactly where Swordland's economy is going. Like, I know. I played it. I didn't go great. So... Okay, look. Do I think this bond will return investment? No. The economy's going to go into the shitter. I know. I played it. But I do like the idea of increasing economic cooperation regardless. Even if the bond won't pay off, like at all, it could still be good to improve our current trading. Again, the partnership is good, but again, I really like the partnership aspect of this. I think increasing trade with Swordland, increasing tourism, increasing all those sorts of things by investing directly into the government could be good. But again, I know that this is just I know this is just getting rid of money. Might increase tourism though, especially with the Monkeys port. I think it's Monkeys being constructed. Yeah, I think I have to say no. I don't think in this case that spending the money for this is worth it, even though I do want to improve relations with Sword. Well, would this increase trade? Because if it will, it might be worth it. But look, if I knew for sure that this would increase trade and tourism, I would probably say yes. Like even with the knowledge I'm not getting the money back. But I don't know that fact. I think I have to say no. Because I just know I won't get my return. We won't make any bond investments. It's a cautious stance, but perhaps it's for the best given the current global economic climate. While we respect your decision, King Romus, I have not given up hope of future collaboration between our nations. Understandable, given the circumstances. But yes, we hope you'll remain open to a future opportunity, should they arise. In the meantime, I'm curious to see if the manifestation of the growth you've promised, even if Risha is not involved in it. It's a tough choice, but I'm sure Father had Risha's best interests at heart. Perhaps the timing for such an investment isn't right just yet. A sense of subtle disappointment filled the room as the news of my decision circulated around the table. Just then, the third course arrived. It appeared to be a take on Bergen Zabla, with medium rare grilled sliced beef atop a silky smooth chickpea puree. I did not. It went really, really badly. If you're interested, the whole playthrough is up in the VODs on my channel. If you're interested in like watching the full playthrough, but to make a long story short, it did not go well. I made some not so great decisions. Great playthrough though, fantastic ending. Wouldn't change a thing, but yeah, didn't work out. Gus put his fork down with a frustrated groan. I do apologize. This meal was supposed to give you a taste of the real Sortland, not some holty-tolty millionaire's idea of it. It's not your fault. Everyone assumes we royals want steak and caviar all the time, but truthfully, I'd kill for a giant bowl of stew. A man after my own heart. Anyway, the renter reached under the table and pulled out a bottle. This dish would go wonderfully with a sip of Romus the Red, a purview of the new Cantuavo vintage before it hits the Source market. He poured glasses for Alfonso and his minister. Both men gave murmurs of appreciation. Vina turned slightly green as she looked at the bottle. None for me, thank you. Be careful, gentlemen. Consumed in sufficient amounts, the wine has been known to act as a truth serum. She and Lorento shared a conspiratorial smile. As the final course was cleared away, the setting sun cast a warm glow over the table. President Alfonso stood, glass in hand, and turned to me with an inviting smile. May our future be as smooth, to a delegation who made us feel right at home. Thank you, Your Majesty. Your companionship was delightful, even if a deal wasn't struck. And you choosing not to investigate doesn't diminish the value of our relationship. The applause that followed the toast was gradually subsided, and the atmosphere buzzed with animated conversations. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a beautiful array of colors across the sky, we began preparing to leave. The evening air was crisp, and the city lights began to twinkle as we journeyed towards the Maroon Palace for the evening party. Well. Okay, wait. One thing I'd like to do, if it's possible, I don't think it is anymore because I'm out of authority, but if I can... Let's see, hang on. Let's go. Hey, Chris, how you doing? Where is it? Okay, increase education funding. Yeah, -2 authority. I don't have any authority. I have 1 authority right now, so I can't do anything. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I don't think there's any of these that I can do to give myself more authority, so I think I just kind of have to bite the bullet on that one and do it next turn. Unfortunate, but we should get more authority next turn, so we'll be able to move from there. Yeah. So, I think this has been... Oh, bond investment, yeah. Hyped to see your streaming. Need the Papers, Please ASAP, though. Very soon. I'm so excited. I will be playing Papers, Please soon. I think that'll be a really, really fun playthrough. I love that game. But yeah, I think this has been a successful playthrough. I mean, obviously, we didn't get everything we want. We didn't get to sign the full People's Party proposal, but I think we handled the Alliance of Nation interview really well. I think we're making really steady progress. We're going to have the gas field up soon. We're going to have the port finished soon. The dam is almost completed, and we're going to have the support vehicle factory soon. So things are going to get better for the country, I think. Yeah. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. Also, hey, the stream is fixed now. The internet's working. I didn't have any interruptions this time. So yeah, there's going to be a lot more in the future. I'm going to be streaming a lot more often. That's my hope. I'm hoping to go from 2 to hopefully 3 times a week. That'll be really, really exciting, bringing a lot more new content. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and thank you all so much for supporting the stream. Sorry I haven't been around as much. It's been a very, very busy month, but I'm really looking forward to setting up a proper stream schedule and getting everything, smoothed out and, making this a much more consistent thing. But beyond that, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, I would really appreciate if you hit the like button, if you subscribe to the channel. I hope that I'm going to be doing much more of this in the future, not only Suzerain, which will stay for a long time, but a bunch of other games as well. I'm really excited about the future of this channel. I'm so grateful you're all here to see it. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Take care. Bye, everybody.